Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Sharon. If you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. I hope that you will enjoy my videos and you'll subscribe to my channel. Recently, I purchased something and I contacted this person to tell her that I really wanted to review one of her palettes. I wanted to pay for it though, so that there were there's no question that my opinion is mine. She did, however, give me a 10% discount, just so you know. But her packaging is really cute. She makes these little airmail kind of envelopes, and it says thank you on the back. But what this is a very cool, at least I think it's going to be cool, travel watercolor palette. So check this out. This thing is small. She has a few different varieties on her Etsy channel. She has a website that is called wellspringgift.com, but on Etsy she is Margaret Mackey Book, and I will put those in the description box below. This is the watercolor palette. This is so small. I got one of my old jewelry business gift cards out, and I just want to show you, or not gift card, business card. And this is my business card against this palette. This palette measures you know what? I'm going to look that up. Hang on. Okay, sorry about that. I just wanted to go to her Etsy page to look everything up and make sure that I give you correct sizes here and I'm not guessing. On her Etsy page, this palette that I have measures 3.7 inches long by 2.4 inches wide, and it is a 1/2 inch in thickness. Now, she does have some other ones. She has square ones. She has one-sided ones that are even thinner, probably 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch. But the reason I wanted this one, I love to carry a lot of paint with me. I really don't need to. I could get away with 7 colors and be just fine when I'm out sketching, out and about. But check this out. This is one side of the palette. It holds, in this side, 10 watercolors, and then it has a wash mixing area, which is like a giant pan, so that you can have a watered down wash and it won't drip all over the place. Then there's this mixing area right here, which is a white enameled top. She does recommend taking a magic eraser or something and then just lightly buffing it so that you can mix the watercolors without them beating up on top. But that's not all. It's double-sided. And this side holds 12 more watercolors. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 more watercolors. And so in total, I have the ability to hold 24 watercolors. And if I didn't want to use this wash area, I could fit a couple more watercolors in there. Or one very large one, like maybe an ultramarine, which is a color I use a lot. But both sides have the mixing areas on them so that you can use that. She also gave me a little clip. Is it in here? Yeah. One of these little binder clips. It's gold. It's so cute. It's a little mini gold clip, so that if you're out sketching, and that clip's a little small for this palette because my palette's a little thicker, but let's say that I was out sketching and didn't have enough hands, I could take this, actually I'm going to use one of my bigger clips, and I could just clip it right onto my page and use my watercolors like that without any trouble. So, I'm going to go ahead and put watercolor in this, and I thought about it. I thought, should I put my Daniel Smith colors in, which is what I use the majority of the time, or should I go ahead and put some Mission Gold colors in? Because I do have 36 of those colors and I like them both. I don't know what to do. Maybe I should mix and put half Daniel Smith, half Mission Gold. But I am so used to my Daniel Smith watercolors that I think I'm going to stick with those. The other reason is because these pans are so shallow. Oh, and the other thing is they're all magnetic. So you can pull them out. Whoop, 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 whoop. I knew I was going to drop that. Excuse me. They're very, very thin. So you can see they're not like a typical pan. Let me open a typical pan. This is a full-size watercolor pan. And this is how big the other one is. So you can see the difference in thickness. They're very, very thin. So they're not going to hold a lot of paint. But when you're out sketching and you want to keep your weight down in what you're carrying, I mean, this is my all-time favorite watercolor palette, the one that I made with my Derwent 24 pencil box. It was the perfect size to make a nice big watercolor palette with my Daniel Smith colors. And then I use the inside of this to mix with. And I do have a video on that below. But anyway, I thought that, you know, carrying something a little bit lighter might be more beneficial for me. So I wanted to try this. So I'm going to go ahead and put watercolor in it and we'll see how it looks. So I've decided to go with the Daniel Smith colors, and you can see I've got them laid out from there all the way back to here. And this one's the only one I have. Oh no, my sap green also. I have 2 Cotman colors in here that I'm trying to use up. So what I did was I laid them all out in a chart on here with their names so that I can fill in one side and then the other. That's how I keep them in order. And then afterwards I can make a like a swatch chart, a color chart, so that I always have those with me at quick glance. And then I'll laminate those so that I can keep them in good condition. I got to take off my hand splint here. I've got a joint that has fallen apart and it starts to dislocate my thumb. It hurts. So I wear that in order to keep it from doing it. But I am fine, so let's move on. I'm going to start by moving all of these over. And if they get out of order, it's okay because I have them on this list. Now, these are going to be really hard to fill because they're so itty-bitty. But I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to do it this way, facing me like this. She says to fill these pans only 2/3 of the way full. Let me part the C here. This goes on this side. These are for the other side. So I will pull this down into the area that you can see. And I'm going to leave them in here because it'll be easier than moving them while they're wet. And I'm going to try to do this carefully. Now, these do shrink. So if I go a little bit over, it's okay. Oh my goodness, this is hard to fill. I've never filled anything so small before. I'm using the edge of the thing to, there. As they dry, they are going to shrink down. So if I fill it a little more than 2/3, it will shrink to 2/3. I hate to waste the color on the edges of that, but okay, so there's one that's filled. And I'll move on to the next one, New Gamboge, which is an oranger yellow that I like. This is one of my favorite yellows. And if you ever see any of that oily stuff that looks like it's coming out of your tubes, that is just the binder. It doesn't hurt anything. It's just that it's separated a little bit, and that's okay. Wow, that's hard to fill. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and speed this up as you get the idea of what I'm doing. So let me go ahead and speed this up here. One side filled now. I used Hansa Yellow, New Gamboge, Quinacridone Gold, Quinacridone Coral, Alizarin Crimson, Quinacridone Magenta, Cerulean Blue, Manganese Blue, Ultramarine, and Indigo. Normally, instead of the manganese, I'd probably have put cobalt in, but I'm out of cobalt blue. So that is what I have for that side. So now, like I said, these will tend to shrink down a little bit. So after a couple of days, once they've dried, usually I go back and I put a little more on top. But I may not in this case. But even so, with that little bit of paint, that's a lot of paint. I'd get a lot of paintings out of those colors. So, and I may just buy another one of these with a smaller palette with bigger pans. They have one that's square, I think, that holds 12, and it's 4 by 4 inches. So I'm going to look into that too. But anyway, let's move on to this side. So, on this side, I have all of my greens and my browns. So this side are my yellows, reds, and blues, and then blue, green, greens, browns. Normally, if I was carrying a small palette that maybe only held 12 colors, for instance, I wouldn't be carrying, I got a hair there, shoot. I wouldn't be carrying all of these greens with me. I would be mixing greens. I would have, well, I'm out of phthalo blue also, I didn't realize. So instead of using phthalo blue, I used phthalo turquoise. I was going to grab my peacock blue out of my Mission Gold set, but then I thought, you know what? When I tested the colors next to each other, they were different. This is a mess, but this was my peacock blue from the Mission Gold, and then this was phthalo blue from Daniel Smith, which was out of another palette. So I don't have any left in the tube. I'm going to have to buy some more of that, but I would have rather had the phthalo blue in here. I may just get some more pans too, and that way I can switch things around when I want to. But since I had room for 24 colors, I thought having these greens would be good, and these are some of my absolute favorite greens. And some of these colors look very similar, and they are similar, but they work differently, and they appear differently. So on this side, I have phthalo turquoise, rich green gold, olive green. This one's yellow. This one's very yellow, this rich green gold. And then the olive green is more of a green. Then I have sap green, hooker's green. Hooker's green I don't use as much of, but sometimes I need it. Genuine Appetite, or what's it called? Green Appetite Genuine, which is one of my favorite colors, and then Undersea Green, which is another one of my favorites. I also have something called Rare Green Earth that I love, but I didn't put it in here. Here's Rare Green Earth. It's kind of a grayer green. And then this is the Green Appetite Genuine. Hard to tell on regular paper. This was just a packing slip. So anyway, they are very different. So I left it out. I figured if I wanted to mix something that looked like the Rare Green Earth, I could use my Payne's Gray and the green and mix them together, I think. Then over here I have Yellow Ochre, raw sienna. These two are very similar also. Yellow ochre is semi-transparent. You can make it very opaque if you put it on thick. Raw sienna is transparent. Then I have burnt sienna. Then I have quinacridone sienna, which is more of an orange. I took my orange out, left it out over here, and decided to put the quinacridone sienna in because I use it more. I hardly use my orange. Then I have raw umber, burnt umber, and Payne's gray, which I cannot live without. I love my raw umber and my Payne's gray. I use them a lot. And my dark umber, I'm starting to use again, or burnt umber. I also use Van Dyke Brown, but I left that out too because I've run out of it. But I have it in my other palette. So anyway, this is it. Now I'm going to leave this sit open for a couple of days to dry, and then we'll go ahead and use it, see how it works. Actually, I'm going to make a chart too, so I might as well do that now, and then we will meet back here again. Laminated this now, and this laminate holds pretty well, although if it gets soaking wet and something gets underneath, then I'm kind of screwed, but hopefully this will fit. I may have to trim it down some more. Yeah, I'm right on the bubble. Actually, I shouldn't even be testing this while it's still wet. But I think I need to take these edges down just a snitch more because it's not going to fit. So let me try and do that. And hopefully, I couldn't magnetize this one because I needed to put a chart on both sides. Otherwise, I would have had to make two charts, and that's a pain in the butt. So I don't want to be carrying two charts around. I'm going to lose it, you know. So let's see if I can get this down to size. I can trim just a little bit more off of both sides, then I might be able to do it. I've got a corner rounder here somewhere too that I can round these edges, but I think I'll just do it with my scissors. That'll work easier. And doesn't have to be perfect. This is just for my own use. There. So hopefully now, I can't cut in too far or I'm going to lose my seal along the edge. So, and that's happened to me before. I'm just going to try and stick that down a little bit better and see if I can put this in here now. Yes, it fits, but I can't close it yet because it's too wet. So I'm just going to leave it open like this, and this is my finished palette. I've got these on the one side, these on the other side, and then I have my chart so that I know what I have on each color. Okay, so obviously it would be really hard for me to review this right now because I need to let it dry, and I really kind of want to get out there and use it. So I'm going to just call this I don't know what I'm going to name the video yet, but this is not a review yet. This is just my setup, and I plan to review this then in a couple of days to tell you how well I think it works, how easily I can get a brush in to mix my paints, And, you know, because some of my brushes, like, I just don't know how well, like, this size 12 is going to fit in there. Or my mop brush, for instance. When I'm using this big mop brush, it's bigger than the darn palette. So we'll have to just see how this is going to work. I may not be able to use those brushes with this palette because of its size, but I would think that I could still easily get like this small mop brush. My size 3 mop brush will fit in there just fine. And I have some other brushes, or I could use like a sable. Size 6 sable will work. And maybe even my triangle brush would work. You know, I think that that could fit in here too. So we'll see. But so today was just the setup, and then in a couple of days, once this is dried, I can't wait for it to dry because I really want to use it. Then maybe by tomorrow it'll be dry. Who knows? I think that this will dry a lot quicker than like my Mission Gold colors would have dried because they stay semi-wet anyway with that honey base that they have. But anyhow, so this is it for this palette. This is so cool. I will link her Etsy page, Margaret's Etsy page, in the description so that if you do want to check out her page and see her palettes, they range somewhere between, I believe the lowest price one was $25. This one is $35, probably because of its double side. There's extra pans in here, which bring the cost up, and then the 2 sides for the mixing. That will bring the cost up. I wonder if I can close this yet without smushing my paint. This could be a big mistake. Let's see. It was a big mistake. I knew that was going to happen. Darn it. Darn it, darn it, darn it. So now that I've screwed that up, I'm going to let you go. And I'm going to get on to my Inktober Day 14. Have a great day, everyone.